In general, our budget actually against actual of this year goes up by $486 because we applied for and received an MTAP grant, Municipal Technical Assistance Plan grant of $29,430, which requires a $3,270 match from the town. So it's a 10% match is typical with these. This grant will allow us to do a complete zoning bylaw update. And that bylaw update will probably take us 2 years to do. That is the entire, all bylaws of the.
How much was that grant? I'm sorry.
It's the
$3,270.
No, 29. It's actually, I have, where did you put it from?
So I had to put it all together. So let me give you what I had done.
Well, basically, it's 29,000 for the grant and 3K for our match.
Oh, that's what it is.
So total of 32, which is the whole
32.7 there, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I guess I've lost the decimals, but
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I put it in as 32.7 for total expenses, but then we got a $29,000 reimbursement.
Reimbursement that will come as we go through that. Total reimbursement is $29,430. So what I'm pointing out is our budget in 2025 was $9,300. We spent, according to my records, basically about $6,000. And that once you, on the 2026 side, once you take an offset with that grant reimbursement, the overall expected increase against actual spent will be $9,786 for this the year that we're in. So it's a $486 change. Sorry, against the 25 budget, not against the 25 actual.
Gotcha. So year over year, 486.
$486 change.
From
Yeah.
and when is that that grant? We're not going to receive the proceeds of the grant until 27. Is that right? Or
No,
are we going to show that on a revenue side, Kim?
I did. I put 29 something in the revenue side,
Okay.
but you don't all get it all at once. So in talking with Jeff, he can help clarify it, but you can apply for 30% after you've started the process. So 30% of the 29 would be about, anybody now? 6,000.
About 8,700.
Okay. So, so you would probably get between 8 and maybe 10,000 in the first year, and you get the balance in the second year. So you could split the expenses over the 2 years, as well as split the
income
reimbursement over the 2 years. So it wouldn't be such a big hit for next year, because you're not going to get all that 29 grand back in 1 year.
On top of that, we have at our meeting in February, we work on the schedule with math. And it's going to take us between February and March to determine that schedule. We can, at that point, I'll know when we expect to be receiving his invoicing for each of the stages of this. And we can certainly at that point in time get a much clearer picture. It's just that this grant came so quickly, it came right at the end of December. As a result of that, we have not had a chance to truly budget it out over a 2-year period.
Well, being what I've see coming down the pike and what I know so far, I think we should split it into half this year and half next year. Because we've got several unknowns coming in. One of them is the education department, and depending what they do, well, people could really be hurting, because last I heard it's a 7% increase this year from the state on education.
And so certainly we can, I can work with Matt, and I can do that this week to just make sure. One of the things is we do tend to front load this, because that's when we do our initial public meetings, that's when we do our initial survey work. Much of that heavier consulting work will happen in this year. And then we take each of the articles and we space them out. So therefore each month we address a new article. And that's what will be in 2027, which will take the longer period to go through. So I think it would certainly make sense to look at half this year and half next year.
Yes, you agree with me?
Makes sense.
Kim, just be careful when you're backing up, just the cord, I don't want you to trip.
Yep, that sounds fine to me.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
That sounds good.
So do
Okay.
you want me to just split it in half?
Yeah, we'll split it.
Half.
You're good with it?
I'm totally good with that.
Alrighty.
Great.
Okay,
Sweet.
thank you.
Thanks for
Did you
coming.
Enjoy the fun.
That was very efficient and quick.
And by the way, the highway budget that, where it stands printed here, is a 6% increase, 5.8.
5.8.
Yeah,
For what we did yesterday.
yeah, what we did yesterday. That's just where we stand. And obviously, there's,
I'm sorry, would you say 6%?
5.8.
I think it's 5.8.
Can you break that down a little bit more on, what the health insurance is, how much of that is health insurance?
No, well, I can, but I haven't.
But the health insurance is less. Theoretically, right?
Because we're, yeah, I mean, it is.
Well, it gets complicated because we have to do the,
Yeah,
what we hold out and,
yeah, got it.
with, the HRA and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and when paper with the fire department.
I know
I don't have any fire department.
That'd be in the appropriations, Jim.
Oh,
So I took what the difference is between your revenue and your expenses, and that was about 110,975. And I just threw it all in appropriations, which will be double what it was last year, so
Yeah.
you all can figure out if you're gonna put it elsewhere. But I didn't want it to get missed.
Just right down.
I'm sorry, Kim, could you say?
Oh, got
that
it,
again?
got it, yeah.
I was just
I'm
looking
here.
for the,
Yeah, under appropriations.
Yep.
You'll see Weston near the bottom of them.
Yep.
The fourth up,
Yep.
Weston Volunteer Fire Department.
yep,
Last year, their actual was 51,000.
Mhm.
They had another 50 in 30 for the roof and 30 for the fire hoses.
Yes.
And this year, I didn't know how they wanted to break it down, if it was going to be, but I just threw everything in there that was 110,975. And that was the difference on the information that they gave us, that was the difference between revenues and expenses, or expenses. So their amount that they're requesting in some way, shape, or form is 110,975. Which is close to what last year's was, because they had 51 plus 50.
I think that number could actually go down a little bit. If you look at the insurance figure, obviously, none of us work in the insurance industry based on the estimate. But going back and forth with Sean has been very helpful. It looks like most of the coverage that we would need, I think we can work out.
Right. This one covers an awful lot. It covers
Yeah.
the big machine that's on the side of the wall, the refill,
Generator and compressor.
right,
And
and the building,
the building itself, and then there's insurance on the vehicles.
which we cover, I believe, as well.
Yeah, and there's $1 million policy, plus an additional 23K for contents. It's not equipment within the firehouse, so I think we're fairly well covered there. There were a couple options that she mentioned in terms of, there's a $400 rider for private owned vehicles. Because we do have a fair number of responders that come in their own vehicles, they go direct. And then an actual cash value, for the apparatus is something else that we'd like to pursue at some point. So I don't know what that direct cost implication may be, but those were the two things that we saw that I think we could add, but that 20K could come off. We should drop your number down just a little bit more in terms of our difference.
Yeah,
Do we have a breakdown? I think you guys had sent the breakdown at one point. right? But I don't know if,
Let me,
do we have it or?
let me go make some copies. I'll
Yeah,
bet Sean
I
have
have,
it and.
Yeah, we
I
did.
have
It
half a
was-
dozen copies here.
No one has it.
Okay.
Oh, you do? Great.
Oh.
The little narrative as well as. the,
Thank you.
Thank
great.
you, it's very
As well
helpful.
as the breakdown by category.
Alright, I'm gonna split, if you don't have enough, one of each.
Well,
I'll
we
go
can
make-
share too if we need to. I don't think we
We
need
can
to.
be friendly. and
2025 actuals varies just ever so slightly from what I sent in last month, because we adapted our December numbers. It's not.
Did you get this, Jill? Did you have a copy?
Oh, she just gave away
I
mine.
need
You
one.
have this, you do.
She has it. I need it.
Shona,
You have a breakdown?
Kim,
or I asked Shawna to ask you guys for a balance sheet. Do you have one?
I don't have it with me, I did provide one. to-
Oh,
I gave the letter
okay.
to the bank statements.
I haven't. Just,
You just sent it to him? She sent it to us?
Yeah, I emailed it to her, so
Let me
she.
see if it's not in here.
Somewhere.
so you were just saying that that there's some things, that would come off of this.
So the 2026 proposed, that $20,000 for insurance, I think you could strike that. There'd be some incremental with things we just discussed in terms of POE and negotiated cash value for the apparatus, whatever that difference may be, but it's gonna be considerably less than 20,000.
50% less or 25% less?
Well, the POV policy is 400. I have no idea what the cash value difference would be for the fire engines, but probably somewhere between 25 and 50% of that.
Which won't result in a
5 and 20.
25 to 50% reduction in the premium, but it'll go a long way. Yeah. So,
That expense could go somewhere between 5 and 10K.
Yeah.
If you were to attach the incremental insurance cost to it.
you guys have, we were talking last night about these new radios. I guess they go over the satellites and they, so they don't, they're not line of sight like our VHFs. Are you you just using VHF radios or?
We are at this point in time.
Yeah.
12, it's 35 now, it's up to 12.
Is there any thought of,
The roof is probably so.
Some of that, I mean, we're looking into some grant options as well.
Mhm.
And depending on what may come through, we may consider something like that, with satellite radios. We can replace everything all at once.
yeah, just,
If we get it through a grant rather than
It's a
through a
big fee
budget.
for it.
right.
That, I was just gonna say, that's would be the way to go. I
Gotta
think.
be a TBD kind of thing.
Yeah,
Jim said he'd bring his radios up and let the town boys try them for a week or so.
Okay.
Jim's got some radios that run off the satellites. I took one with me when I went north last fall.
I did from Londonderry Fire
No.
or Tim?
From Weathersfield, my brother. And I could talk to him all the way to the Canadian border.
One of the things that I don't know, my experience with trying to get internet at my house, I've tried some of the satellite things and they work great until it snows or rains. And then the signal has to go through it twice. So I'd be interested in your brother's experience with that.
So the difference between, I think what you're saying is that the difference between the 136,000 that were your expenses for 2025 and the 150,000 you're asking now is the insurance.
Yeah,
That's the
they're
main
subtracting.
difference
So
between,
many difference between,
Yeah.
yeah, we're pretty flat,
So
otherwise.
that's gonna come down.
got it, okay.
We did have a lot of catch-up expenses this year, now that all the flood drama is over. You know, haven't looked after the trucks as well as we could have, with all the other things we were doing. So some areas we didn't spend during flood recovery, and now we're kind of paying for that.
Okay, and can you, grants, you have grants here and you had, you spent $4,000 on grants, you're expecting to spend 8,000. What is that expense for?
There is a company called Funding Navigator. It's been somewhat sponsored. There's it's called the R2 Network. It's something that was started in 2023. And basically, this company puts people like ourselves, small community first responders, in touch with technology innovators. And they facilitate that by basically providing grant writing services. So for typical grant writers, around 3,500, organization will support us for a year, up to 5 grants for a maximum of $500,000. Go out and try to gather what they can for us and keep trying until we succeed. So we wanted to try them this year and see if we can get some advantage from that as opposed to a one-off grant writing.
So they're basically consultants to help you raise money, is that right?
Yeah, basically it's a grant writing service. So
Okay.
we're outsourcing.
And the 4,000 in 25 was not the Funding Navigator, was some other outfit, is that right?
Yeah,
Your actual expense this year was 4,000.
yeah, the contract is 4,000 for the year.
With the same company you're talking about?
No, this would be a new relationship.
So then, oh, sorry, are you done?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know. So we didn't have any grant expenses, the actual grant expenses in 24 or 25. So they just signed the contract, we're in the process of paying them. We'll take off this year.
You didn't have any
Wait,
expenses.
But
in
you-
25, we
You've
did,
listed 4,000.
it was proposed, it's in the proposed, it doesn't say anything, but it is spent.
The actuals are zero.
Wait,
Proposed and actual. So look at the
yeah, but,
next to last column is reality.
yeah,
Right,
and
that's
that's
got
got
4,000.
4,000 in it.
4,000.
According to what we have.
Okay.
So should that be in the proposed rather than the
It
actual?
should be in proposed.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, we did not, we didn't execute that until the first of this year.
Okay,
My apologies.
so that gets us down to 141,100. Because I've taken the insurance down to 15,000. That's line 3 in the 26 proposed from 20, and then the 8,000 for the grants down to 4,000. So that's 9,000 out of that 150, 100, right?
No, they're still gonna spend 8,000 this year. He was just correcting what they spent last year in terms of grants. They're still, the Funding Navigator is gonna cost them $8,000.
Is it going to cost not 4,000?
Just 4.
Oh, misunderstood. Okay, so you never needed 8. It was always 4.
Okay,
Oh, got it.
So-
Okay.
It says 24,600, it says 8,000 underneath that column, that's why.
Okay,
Did you see that?
there was an option. I've updated this since you received it. There was an option for an additional $4,000. They would begin a capital funds campaign for the firehouse. And we've decided to just try them as a grant facilitator the first year before we spend that additional money. And if we have a positive outcome with them, we'll look at that capital fundraising.
Okay, can I ask you another question regarding that? So if you have this group, Funding Navigator, that's gonna help you raise money, right? You have a pretty, under grants, and presumably they're helping you find grants. Under grants, you have $4,600 up above, under income. You have $4,600. That seems to me to be pretty, very conservative. I would hope they'd find more money than that for you.
We do too, but nothing's guaranteed at this point.
Gotcha.
So I can't say we're gonna get $100,000 in grant money when I have no idea what's out there or how we're gonna qualify.
Okay.
But would I be right in assuming that any grants you get will be against
I assume they'd offset.
expenses that you're already,
For the most part,
Yeah.
yes, I think they'd offset.
so the 4,600 is kind of, you're just saying that they're gonna earn their keep.
Yeah, we're just gonna, the
Yeah.
bare minimum, I expect we'll get our money back, but I think we'll do better, but there's no guarantees to any of this. You know how
Yeah,
grants go, so.
Mhm.
But we're going to make a concerted effort to raise money for some specific areas in the department.
I see you've got some money set aside or want some new turnout gear. Is the turnout gear wore out, or is it one of them time factors that, because OSHA says after so many years and it should be replaced?
Most of it is a time
It's
factor.
a 10-year life cycle. We've tried to buy a couple, 3 sets a year so that we don't get this big lump somewhere. Because of a full set of turnout gear for an interior firefighter, hat, boot, gloves, coat, pants, a little bit, it's about $7,500 right now. So 3 sets of turnout gear.
What I'm questioning is you're not a full-time fire department rolling every day and stuff. And
I can add something to that, and I just had a long conversation with my son, he's at the NY, and they were talking about turnout gear, and I mean, those of you that know how technology runs, they come up with a great idea, it shows up, and then they find the flaws in it, and FDNY is going through this major thing in terms of a lot of the turnout gear they have carcinogens, and it was supposed to protect them. So when you look at the escalating price in regard to the turnout gear, they're constantly fixing the things that they discovered as time went on. So I understand what you're trying to say is like, well, you could keep using it because it didn't get the wear and tear. But by the same token, if anything would have happened to anybody in the department, and if there was, God forbid, there was a line of duty death, then that goes before a whole board, and then they would look and say, well, sending people into harm's way, and they shouldn't have been in that gear. So like, these are the considerations. I understand what you're saying, but those are the considerations that you have to take into account. So all we're trying to do is play catch up, just to slowly introduce. We're not talking about replacing everything all at once, but slowly replace and move around. On the other hand, all right, at my age, I'm not an interior firefighter. I'll be on the outside. And the outside gear that's what you'll see, there's a differential in terms of cost. Well, they're not great in terms of the winter. It's cold. So I take the old gear, because I'm still staying outside, and I'll put those on. So we use what we can. And that's what I want you to understand. We use what we can. We're not just flagrantly going around saying, okay, we need this, and we want to be like the best around. We're just trying to be very mindful about how we could move in a direction where we're playing catch up and we're safe.
You want the latest because it's the safest.
Bottom line.
Get it? Yeah. We don't have it broken down in terms of outside and inside gear. We just have one gear.
We're about to
line.
get a sheet right now that Shauna just had us print up.
It's the
That
balance.
is the balance sheet, I believe.
Oh, okay.
That should be giving us a breakdown.
Did you just think that and it was true?
Yes.
Roughly half
Oh,
of it.
I'm impressed.
No. My dear Shauna just sent me a sheet. We're
One
in-
for each
we're-
eye, one
we're
for each hand.
incognito.
You draw this way, Denny, or this way?
So can we just go back to this year? You have $20,000. You're saying that one set of gear costs about 7,500.
The fully equipped interior firefighters.
Yeah.
7,500.
Okay, so basically what you have here pays for 3 sets.
Or 2 interior, perhaps 2 exterior firefighters.
Gotcha, okay. So, and you're working on a 10-year rotation, 10-year cycle. So you have, I'm sorry, you have 30 now, roughly 30 sets right now? No, exterior is less expensive than interior, so you probably have more than that. Okay, but this is part of that 10-year cycle that you figured it into.
And there's, a pair of boots get ruined here or there, a pair of gloves get ruined or lost, so it kind of adds up, depending on how busy we get and how crazy things are. But, it's just kind of trickling in the new as stuff kind of ages out.
Yep.
You just don't want a big slug of, we need six firefighter sets 1 year.
Yeah, can I just speak to this real quickly? Brian might remember this. Prior to 2021, all of the gear was replaced after Irene. And it was grant funded. I'm not sure exactly, Denny might remember. Brian may remember. Mark Belango would probably remember. But anyway, all the gear got replaced because it all got ruined in Irene. Well, if you start the
clock,
ticker starting then, so sometime prior, let's say, I don't know, I've been a little bit more active in like the last 7 years, but so sometime like 18, 19 in that time frame, we're like, oh, all of our stuff's gonna expire at the 10-year, blah, blah, blah. So we're like, okay, let's try to replace like 3 sets, let's be proactive, 3 sets per year, because then you get the same thing you guys are doing with your apparatus, your, truck equipment. So let's do 3 sets it's so expensive, and then the price has gone up at least 50% since then. The other thing that we've discovered, it's worked out pretty well, like I don't have interior gear either. I go stand out in the middle of the road, wear my layers underneath, but I do have reflective kind of stuff, and you can get the exterior gear is a lot less expensive than the interior firefighters. So we've done some cost saving. So that's where that came from, though. It was like, okay, let's get on a little bit of a replacement cycle. Let's be proactive rather than having you get the 10-year and everybody's turnout gear needs to be replaced. That's crazy.
Just cuts down the lump sum.
Cuts in. Same thing with like that SCBA, the breathing apparatus a couple of years ago. Same sort of idea. You want to just
Rotate it.
budget a little bit ahead of time.
Yep.
So that, and then buy a couple sets and then give the older and or non-interior people the old stuff and kind of rotate it through.
Question, this year under actual, we have only $900, is that correct, or did you not buy anything this
Yes.
year?
So the reason that the actual costs are really low is because we lost a lot of stuff in the flood. It took a long time for us to get any kind of replacement check. Basically, what we said was, don't spend any money because we don't know what we're gonna have.
Yep.
So we put a freeze on spending anything other than
In
what
terms
was
of gear, okay.
anything,
In terms of.
in terms of everything. We basically,
Until we
knew what we were gonna
knew
get
what we
from
were
them.
gonna actually get from FEMA.
Okay.
Yeah, because we didn't have any money coming in.
Bob Sonardi left you a couple $100,000 towards your new building fund and under assets. I don't see it listed.
It's in the money market. 261. 200 that was on.
Where's the interest from that money going?
Should just be plugging back in at this point.
How come the net income is minus 88? Where'd that go?
This is where Mitch would be.
Did Mitch make up this worksheet?
Yes.
where are you looking, Jim?
Right at the
Net
bottom,
income,
third.
third
Gotcha.
line from the bottom.
Yep.
Let me try to call him.
Yeah, see if they'll answer. I think we scratched in our heads on that once before and he explained it, but.
Yeah, I haven't seen this before. Was this?
And would contributions from the from the assets of the equity and the retained earnings, would those show up as income on the budget side? In other words, interest and dividends.
They have that.
We have, yeah, for 2025, we show a 3250.
Yep,
Yeah. Where's that?
top of, on this page.
Oh, no, I see it on the income statement, but I don't see it
Oh,
on the,
Balance sheet.
on the changes to the balance sheet.
It's not for me to say, fellas, but I think you ought to take a serious look at where you got your money invested.
That is we're aware of that.
Because $3,200 on $200,000 is stinks. Put it point blank.
I've got some ideas there that we're gonna work on this year.
yeah.
Equity, but am I right that you've got 145,000 invested in equities? Or, no, this is, these are just, are they both in bank accounts? The opening balance equity and the retained earnings equity? I'm
Oh, down at the
I'm
bottom.
just having a hard time with the,
Numbers.
Terminology?
Yeah,
well, yeah, to figure out what it means, yeah,
Yeah,
Jen.
and I apologize, I haven't seen this before. either.
Mitch is on his way. He just got home
oh,
and he'll be right here.
excellent.
Yep, he's probably 3 minutes away.
Oh, okay.
Jenny, what was the name of that guy who left the 200,000?
Bob Sinati,
Thank you.
CS.
N, ADI.
Wow.
CSNADI.
We put his name on front of the fire truck.
Oh, good.
What is that?
I guarantee you I wouldn't have spelled Sonati with a C and an S.
Or in an N, N right after it.
I would never pronounced it correctly.
What is that?
Mm.
Oh,
I apologize, the questions you were asking, I was asking are all right here, and I apologize.
That's okay.
Just for a way of explaining. Linda, Brian, and Katie, this is their first year through this whole mess because they're all brand new to Selectboard in March. So to learn, they have to ask a lot of questions.
They don't know what kind of fun they're getting into,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Although we ought to be able to read, and again, I'm sorry, I did not look at that ahead of time.
Plenty of budget meetings, but this is my first rodeo with the town. so.
Oh, okay, good, well. Hmm.
yeah, ride on cowboy.
So he's going to arrive and we're gonna pepper him with questions before he even gets his brain.
It's his coat off.
Yeah, exactly, before he gets his coat off. Yeah.
Trying to frame the environment for him before he gets land-based.
Yeah, maybe you wanna meet him on the sidewalk.
What other questions do you all have besides going over the balance sheet, so we don't waste our time right now?
Good, thanks.
Sorry.
No, that's really good. I don't have any other questions, but maybe others do.
The Simmons endowment. How is that what is that? I mean, I just looked it up. It's Simmons endowment for 28,719.70.
Any of those things. And then we had fireman's fund.
Just curious what that is. I just looked it up.
Katie. The Simon's Fund,
Oh.
Rooney,
Oh, Simon's Fund,
Johnson,
sorry.
their money that was bequeathed to the fire department when I was in there.
Okay,
And we set it up back then, so to invest some money
okay,
and the interest would be turned into general operating expense.
okay.
But they weren't to spend the principal, and in hopes people would contribute more money to help them make them a little more self-sufficient. And Bob's intent was to go towards the building, and the money should have been put in a good interest-bearing account, which apparently got misled. And
Okay.
that was when I was involved in it.
Okay,
We're looking to consolidate a lot of these separate accounts into a larger lump sum. And then look at a better investment opportunity for it. It'll get us a better return than 3.5%, so.
That's not always good, putting too many eggs in one basket. If it goes
Yeah,
to hell.
you're gonna wanna
Diversify
diversify for sure.
a lot.
Where is it now? Just for interest's sake?
Most of these, except for the money market, everything is in a bank account.
Like a savings account or, yeah,
They're not in CDs.
Well, Mitch can answer the specifics, but.
yeah.
So we were talking about that, we got 6 separate bank accounts, and we'd like to at least streamline some of that, so it's a little more manageable.
I think the Simon's endowment were in CDs that were not, they weren't all lined up, of course, when their renewal was.
Oh, yeah, you'd have some kind of a ladder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
Fire departments aren't the only people who have ladders.
Yeah.
Good one, John.
But yeah, but the Sonati never got put into something like that.
Do we have any other questions for them besides the balance sheet questions we have?
Well, just to get to the total, what you're looking for from the town is, am I right, 110? I wrote down earlier tonight, 110,975, next to the 51,000 that's on page 1 in the appropriations. And I'm presuming that would get stuck into on page 4, other expenses, fire station. Am I right in that, Kim or Todd or anybody?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, in addition to that 51 from this past year, we had another 50 in the roof and the hose purchases that we had to put up to vote because we had some communication errors. So our number last year was also very close to $100,000.
Well, it wasn't, because I think you guys had 30,000 in for the roof, or 35, and we ended up getting it for like 22, 23.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, Jim, we've got 51 Weston Volunteer Fire Department under Town General Fund Expenses Appropriations, and then where is the rest of it? The
Page
other
4,
six.
other expenses, the second block down,
Yeah,
fire station.
Okay, it's empty.
And I think that those were,
fire station,
I don't
what
know.
does that mean?
well, that was the roof, I believe, Kim, and the 36,133 was some hoses and the roof, is that right?
Correct, so we
Yeah.
had budgeted 50 and it only came out to,
36.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. And that's where the other 50 is supposed to go for budget?
well, that was what I was wondering. Rather than have it all in appropriations, would you be able to do what you did last year, which is take 51, 55, something regular in appropriations, and then say, okay, now we're gonna put 20 to the turnout gear.
It is a
Um,
workout.
It is, I bet it
Yeah.
is, that is not what I want. And then put another 30 to building maintenance or mechanical maintenance or whatever. It really does skew the appropriations greatly, and I apologize because I had given you a copy where I had not put the whole 110 in. So I just want to trade out with you, and I apologize for that. Well, you just humor me. I had wanted to figure out what the math was without the full 110, so I had figured that out and then forgot to change it so that,
But you had the 110 yesterday.
yeah, so I had 110 yesterday, but I
Yes.
didn't have the cemetery. So I have cemetery likely to stay that.
Okay.
But I wanted you to see the impact of just leaving that 110 there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got 51 in the general appropriations, and then we're looking at, if there's the fire station, under other expenses on page
On
4.
page 4.
And then we also have the fire apparatus replacement reserve fund also on page 4.
And that's for future purchases of equipment.
I understand. And is that part of what is in the 110?
No.
So
No, that's a separate appropriation. That's,
So where is the other 50 to 110? Where's the other 60,000? All under fire station?
it's all under the appropriation. I think the 110,975 on your new sheet.
Yeah, the new sheet that I.
Where's your old
I
sheet?
got it.
Yeah, and
Scrap the old sheet.
I'm gonna take this old sheet,
Yeah,
And I'm
thank
going
you,
to-
sorry.
tear it out. I'm not,
Just give them to
I'm
her.
not,
Throw
okay,
them on the floor.
yeah. Here, Linda, yeah, okay.
Oh, no, that's too close.
Well, it's not a big chair, the little chair.
And we're in.
I take notes on it.
Got wheels on it.
And put it on the hot
So I'm
seat,
keeping
Michael.
this and transfer notes later.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm late.
That's,
No problem.
Everything go okay? Yeah. Good. Got questions on the balance sheet that we can't answer. I'll try. Okay.
You're ready, huh?
Maybe.
So do you want a copy of this or?
I'll open my computer.
Oh, okay, great.
So unfortunately, some of the stuff that gets generated is historical. In other words, I'm using QuickBooks, so anything that's been put in, whether it be right or wrong, is here. So I will certainly attempt to answer your questions.
I guess one of the questions was that you had $200,000 for your building fund and it wasn't broke out, and how much interest has accumulated on that?
That actually, well, you don't have that. So I believe that's getting 3.5% interest at the moment. So our December statement shows year-to-date dividends. So on the primary share it's 79 cents, the nonprofit $24. On the money market, we received $5,990.81.
for the year.
That's for the year. That's year-to-date. This
Mhm.
December statement. Then we have fireman's relief fund. We have other funds, none of them are, well, there's not as much money in any of the others.
So you're making basically you made $6,000 over
Right.
the year on that 240,
Well, we have
260.
324 in there,
Yeah,
so it's more than 200.
yeah. Oh, okay, right.
Mitch, can I ask
So,
something?
yeah.
On this sheet, that's yours too, right?
Yep.
Interest and dividend, we're only showing 42.50, so that's the other disconnect.
Okay, so I tried to put this together. I started in March of 25. I had no experience with the fire department, knew Brian and Pat and nobody else. So to some degree, it's been a work in progress. That is obviously a mistake on my part. I tried to put together a budget and didn't include that information. I was really primarily looking at what had been done previously and copied it over. But that is obviously an error.
I fully understand you were handed a rat stuff.
He was being so polite.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at, again, on the balance sheet, net income of minus 88,529.
Well, we don't take in as much income as, and especially this year, with purchasing new equipment, there was certainly an outlay of funds that we weren't reimbursed for.
But that doesn't show up on the income
So again,
for 2025 on the budget.
well, the balance sheet is. The balance sheet would carry things forward. So again, I would be happy to go back and look at it. You have our numbers, what we've actually spent and what we've done. The actuals are what the actuals are. So what I tried to do there was to eliminate many of the unnecessary categories and make it as succinct as possible. It's what I'm working on as far as the chart of accounts going forward, which I did want to ask you about what you guys use for your financial package.
Nemrick, we used to use QuickBooks and then we switched to Nemrick. So
You handled it? Or you know
I
about
got to finish the install.
Okay,
But
We'll talk.
I don't know if they do municipal
Okay.
fire department, but you're welcome to look at our charter.
So and just to back up, the professional service 5,000, is that accounting? What is that? What is that professional service?
it was accounting. It's also, you're looking at,
I'm gonna just get right to the point.
okay,
I think you guys need a professional accountant, and I think you need one really badly. I think it's, I look at these numbers and it makes me, my head starts to spin and I want to fall down. Honestly, I'm
right there with you, Jeff.
yeah, and I think you need some serious horsepower to get things straightened out as much as you can, mostly for you, but also for us. And if, at some point you're thinking about having a capital campaign, this stuff needs to be squeaky clean. And it all has to interlock so that, you see numbers on one page and they're reflected on another page and stuff like that. And with all due respect, this is a job for, true professionals, and they ought to be paid. And
there was an accountant this year. I can't say that she provided much help or support. But I don't disagree with you. You know,
I hear
there's,
you.
there's a lot of things that have gone into this throughout, over the years that need to be cleaned up.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, there's. a
And if you don't know the
history here.
answers, that's fine. We can just take a snapshot of what you got, what we know happened recently, and just sort of, you know, say, okay, well, things were messed up, and so we don't know exactly how we got here, but at least we, you know, you can
Draw a line and start.
you know, you say, okay, these are our assets. This is how the cash flow worked for the last. We should have a pretty good idea of 24 and 25, I think, and then build from there, because it's going to be. I mean, it's really important for both of us. You know, when I say us, I mean the select board and for you guys.
Well, I think,
Because we shouldn't be standing here spending, you know, this amount of time trying to parse this stuff. I mean, it's really not fair to you guys.
Why don't we do this? You guys are basically looking for what,
110.
110.
110. You've got your appropriation on the other page, and on page 4, we have other expenses, fire station. In the next couple of days, could you guys break down what we could split off and put under the other expense, and then leave your appropriation? So like last year, you basically got 2 appropriations. You follow what I'm saying? So we can split it in half basically and put appropriation, then the other expenses over here, things that relate to the firehouse and stuff.
2 different categories.
Yeah.
Right,
A couple of
And
big
then-
items, right?
right.
There were
And-
2 appropriations in 25 or in 24?
25.
25.
So,
So the one. for-
All right, basically what it
Oh,
was,
I know, we paid for the roof.
and the
Yeah.
hose.
And the
And
hose. Yeah.
Okay.
So they took both of those big ticket items so that there are no numbers that look like this. The numbers all look like this and can fit
Understood.
nicely into categories.
And then maybe overstepping, but so it don't get lost in the wayside. Come back our second meeting in February and see if you've got some sort of professional lined up, and Jim has dealt with people, and imagine Linda and Brian have, and put your heads together and come up with a plan so it doesn't get strung out and lost in the shuffle, pushed off to the side. Make it a date to come back the 24th of February. And we'll put it on the agenda and discuss a little bit of trying to get things online and start over and put our heads all together on this.
Sounds like a plan.
Is there any firemen's or firehouse organization that would have, that you could draw on to get some recommendations about people who do this kind of accounting work?
I've
You
been
know, who would
formally asked, and so far.
Oh, you've run down that road?
Rockesville, I've been to Chester, and
Yeah,
most of them are doing it themselves.
yeah.
You may have to go out the
But
bar.
then again, if you don't have the mess to start with.
It's easier to manage.
Yeah, but that's
Right, no,
where we are. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
and
That's why we're going to draw a line in the sand and
yeah,
forget
We're
last
not
year and
interested in
everything else. You're gonna have X number of dollars. There's so much here for Bruning, so much here for Sonati, so much here from there.
Yeah.
And you take the base number, you listen to somebody where to put it, and then you do something with the interest and set your things up to go accordingly. And let's just write 25 off the books, and we'll draw a line and start from
That's fair.
scratch.
yeah.
Is that reasonable?
What we should do is, I mean, we need Mitch to take care of the day-to-day stuff for us.
Oh, yeah,
keep
and that's
track of all
bookkeeping.
that. And he's
Right.
been very good at it, and
I feel we're lucky to have him.
Oh.
And
I'm not arguing.
I think what we need to do is let you find somebody that you can work with.
It's
been a challenge.
I
Yeah.
understand that, but
not to say anything negative about Vermont. I will work on it. I will try to find.
Is it, I mean, there's some kind of a,
People, I reached out for accountants and.
is there a
I'll get a
national
phone call
organization of fire departments that might have, because I don't think you need somebody local or even in Vermont. I think you need somebody, you know, you can ship them a shoebox full of receipts, you know what I mean? And say, okay, this is where we are. We need to sort this out. And this person can recommend, you know, an accounting program, help you set up all the categories. So all the journal entries, you know, make sense and are connected to a particular account and, you know, and you
will
have a
say
roadmap.
Since I've been doing it, it's gotten better.
Oh,
It's
I'm
far
not
less
arguing that.
complicated.
Do you think the,
And I try to categorize things so that they make sense. Now, sometimes that's difficult for me. I get a bill, I don't know if it's work on a truck, work in the building, work on equipment.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to talk a whole lot more about the details here.
Okay.
You know what you need to do, and I wonder if the Vermont Council on Rural Development might have a,
Oh, VLCT mean,
Yeah.
or
Vermont Development Corporation, the Vermont.
whatever, Vermont League of Cities and Towns.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
VLCT,
talking about,
yeah.
VLCT. I'm sorry, I get all those Vs.
Oh.
Anyway, the Vermont League of Cities and Towns might have a suggestion in that regard.
Say that again, Vermont.
Vermont League of
Okay.
Cities.
I'll tell you
Cities and
what, I'm
Towns.
gonna write down onto
Excellent.
my do list. I'll give them a call. And see what they say.
Yep.
And I'll, Mitch, give me your phone number.
917-217-3360.
3360, and spell your last name.
FUCHS.
As in you. So, yeah, okay.
If you guys
Perfect.
could get that divided up, we will have a meeting here tomorrow night, then next week it'll be Wednesday and Thursday. And we'd appreciate it if you could get it by then so we can get this list moved along pretty good, because we have a deadline of about the 23rd to
21st, 23rd at the latest in
Uh,
January to get to the printer.
get this whole damn thing put together.
Any preference in terms of how we wanna split this up, operations versus?
No, just kind of make it look like, you know, stuff that you can lean towards, the firehouse, lean that stuff towards it.
Yeah, whether you're paying expenses, you know, that, you know, like accounting or cleaning or something like that, or you're actually buying stuff. You know, where you walk in and you give them a check and you walk out and you're carrying something.
So the bigger bucket items, which is what we'd like to move over, it sounds.
Yeah,
like.
exactly. The capital, what I would call capital expenses.
Operation
Yeah.
versus capital.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go. That's it. Those are the terms we've been looking for.
We're not trying to make anybody's life complicated.
Listen, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to.
Get by.
Yeah.
None of us are making anything on this. It's not getting by. Any of us in this room, well, one exception. But even with that, I mean, we're really just trying to do what's good for the community.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
like I said before, you were handed a rat's nest, and that's why just draw a line in the sand and we'll start fresh.
And thank you very much for your time and for your presentation
and-
of all this stuff.
And
It's-
thank you.
And
it's really
thank you,
helpful to
all
us.
you guys, all y'all. Sorry, Jen.
Gal.
You're
Oh,
a
it's
y'all.
probably a guy, no worries.
Yeah.
I wasn't involved with I couldn't make it to the budget stuff, so I wanted to be here though, because I'm sort of responsible for answering to you all and the community.
You're passing the buck, is what you're
No,
doing.
I'm.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to learn a little bit
Sorry,
more.
sorry, of course.
So my nose doesn't grow when I'm trying to explain stuff. But we all have a piece of it, you know,
Yes.
like I knew about the, you know, the first year and the,
Sure,
you know,
right,
the good stuff.
right,
Thank you
good.
very much for your time.
Thank you.
so
Well,
much.
thank you, guys.
Thank you for everything you do.
Yeah,
They truly put in so much time and effort, as do you. but of course, they're out in the cold, pulling out cars, directing
Over
traffic.
here.
It's
We get
a
a plain
daunting
fire
task.
trucks and spray hoses.
I don't know, sometimes we could use a little bit of your water spray here, it gets so hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when the heat comes on in this room,
Yeah.
maybe did you have one of those misters?
Exactly.
We can make one. Indian tea. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Something
much.
like that.
Good luck, hang in there.
Yeah, we got it. We got it.
So Kim, where do we wanna do, the analysis town general or the warning?
We've got Wayne here.
We've got Wayne here and he wanted to speak to you.
Yeah.
So,
Hi, Wayne. I thought you were here for anything.
Yeah, I was here to be entertained.
How's
Well,
how's it
where are
going
you?
so far?
we always survive.
Let me tell you what.
Can you just,
hey guys.
Hang on,
Bye.
yeah, thank you, yeah.
thank you, good night, good night.
Kim and I and Jim have been talking about the bridge and how that's gonna get settled and how it's gonna move forward, if it moves forward at all. And as moderator, I was asked if I could help you understand about what might be an article in the town meeting, if you want to do it in town meeting. And so I did a little piece of paper that I can pass out, and it's not that complicated.
I'm sorry, but-
Municipal improvement fund.
I can choose to already.
Yeah, I'm not sure, what do we want to add here?
An article.
An article on,
In the warning.
Yeah.
Town meeting.
gotcha, okay.
If you want to go to town meeting to decide about the bridge award. If you don't, you can do it here in the select board. Simply saying,
Yeah,
this
good.
is an opportunity, if you want to do it with a town meeting, here's how to do it.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Simple as that.
Great.
Well, I got some problems with this, Wayne.
And go down. This is simply a draft.
Yeah, well, down on the bottom, it says, 670,000 from the town bridge repair special fund. That fund was created solely for repair to bridges and replace flood damaged bridges. It was not put together to tear out an existing good bridge.
I hear you.
And I will carry it to court if I have.
I don't endorse this. I'm doing what I was told to do.
I asked him to help us figure out what we're doing
And I
and
looked
give
at the
you
option.
information.
Well, the other thing is, this whole thing over here was put together without really much input from the select board. And now all of a sudden the whole town, not just a few individuals, is being asked to foot the bill. And last night I said that it stinks the way this is being done. And I don't think that the taxpayers should be roped in to paying for something that they really didn't have much say in doing. And I said at previous meetings that there was not enough money being asked for. And the amount was not increased.
Danny, I got no dog in this fight.
I have a question. Actually, so taking into account what you're saying, Denny, so $670,354, that is in the bridge repair fund already. Say that stays as a bridge repair fund for the bridges, and then the article is warned. And so there is a discrepancy. It's the project budget that originally came out was $3,670,354. So we're at a loss of $670,354,000. However, the point that Denny has been making is that that probably isn't the correct amount.
Plus, we've got 3 bridges on Greendale Road that we've been told last summer need work.
I understand. So the question is, do we, I guess, create an article that doesn't have anything to do with their existing bridge fund and goes to the town and says, we got this $3 million grant that it's, I'm just spitballing here. We have a $3 million grant that will allow us to take out the dam and fix the bridge. It's not enough money, but what is the cost to the town if we do not do it? How much money do we spend over time in recovery once we get flooded, which we will get flooded again? And how much FEMA doesn't exist anymore. How much are we going to get in government grants and help in the future, but that we cannot predict, but we can at least have some kind of control over taking this grant that we got and going from there. Just a thought.
One thing that not many people have said is even if they take this bridge out, take the dam out, it's not going to alleviate all flooding.
It's never going to alleviate all the flooding, but it will alleviate it from what it is, I believe, 5.5, 6 feet down to 2.5 feet, which I think is a significant difference within the village and also all of our historical monuments and buildings and everything that we have. I just don't, global warming exists and our weather patterns have changed and it's not the way they used to be. I don't know if the dam is really helping the residents up stream. I also don't have a prediction on any of this, but I do know that there is an incredible amount of money on the line, and leaving the bridge fund that we do need to repair roads and other bridges, I think it's worthwhile.
So there's $3 million, we have $3 million. Let's just say round figures, it takes $1 million to take out the dam. I have no idea, but let's just say it's $1 million.
It's gonna be more than.
Whatever,
Yeah.
it's just $1 million.
Yes.
That leaves us $2 million, which is not enough to replace the bridge that we have, but it's $2 million that we don't have. And I guess the question is, how important is it to the town and to the flood resiliency of the town to do something with that bridge to mitigate the flooding that we know is going to happen again? It's $2 million that we could put in a fund. We don't have to spend it until 2030. We could potentially do a different study, do a different estimate of expenses, and find a way to improve the resiliency of that bridge to help the
Will the
town.
grant allow us to do something like that? This is what I don't understand. I think you said yesterday there is a lot of flexibility with it.
I understand that there's a.
I kind of know a lot more about this than I should, because I've gone through all of the documents to go through to understand where we are. And that's look at this language and you can see, you've got to show them we've actually used the 3.64. And it's to take out the bridge, to replace the bridge and take out the dam, period. And there's no way that you can set up a separate fund and think about it for a few years. It's got to be done, it's got to be spent, and it's got to be. Let me give you the budget that was sent into the state.
When does it have to be spent by, Wayne?
Yeah, I think 20.
Oh, well, that's, Jim was saying 2030, so.
Yeah, but it's early in 2030. Hold on.
You have a deadline as to whether
Yeah.
or not you're going to
Accept it. No, I understand.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
we're in the process of accepting it. And one of the problems with accepting it is that, the grantors require that we, that we have a source for the shortfall. Because if we just accept the grant and there is no money to fill in the shortfall,
The
then.
670.
Yeah, the 670, then that, they don't, the
They don't wanna give you the
grantor
grant. Yeah.
says,
That's the language in the italics.
yes,
Prior to a grant agreement,
Right.
the following documentation, evidence of commitment of all the,
Yep.
you've got to commit to an additional $670,000.
Understood.
And it can either be a grant, a loan, municipal fund, or a bank loan.
right,
And what I've been told is that the source of the municipal funds is the bridge repair fund. Now, if that's not the case, then it's
Well,
someone
that
else.
exists right now. I think we're saying whether or not we want to use it towards that, right? I mean,
yeah, those funds exist.
right.
And I would submit that, you know, sometimes the way you repair a bridge is you replace it.
But this one's in perfectly good shape. It doesn't need to be replaced.
Well,
Just because a select group thinks that by replacing it, they're gonna alleviate the flood damage. And nobody's estimated the cost of the excavation down through here for pulling back the bank another 12 feet. Because
Wasn't there a study done? to
I
say
think,
that it
I think
was?
that's in that cost estimate, and I'm not disagreeing that the cost estimate might be low. I'm not, but I think that my understanding of the whole thing is when, you know, the project specified widening the span of the bridge from 50 feet to 65 feet
Mhm.
and then putting a new deck on it. And just to be, you know, just to sort of take this one step further, if we leave the bridge as it is, the chances are very high that the next flood that happens, when the next flood happens, we're gonna own the library property there. And if the same thing, if we don't change the bridge, the thing that happened between the library building and the gabion wall is gonna happen again, which is all the fill out there is gonna get swept away and it's gonna have to be filled in, not to mention Lawrence Hill Road getting undermined and having to have, you know, whatever the equivalent of $120,000 in fill, and you know, so there's, you know, $1.50, 200 per storm that we're gonna, until the bridge is upgraded, that we're gonna have to spend. And, you know, this is all part of the calculation, that's all.
how much land is coming off from the old Orton house?
It's about, 12 and a half feet, 15
And
feet. that
How
kind of-
far upriver is it going?
It, you know, maybe 20 feet. And I know that Jeff is happy with that. And if you look at the corner of our property, you know, it's not that big a bite.
What's the old Lorton property? I don't know what you're talking
Where
about.
Jeff Brown lives.
Okay.
Well, what I see happening here is you put that bridge in and you cut it back like that, you're gonna create a curve in the river. Cause water's gonna turn and flow this way, cause that's where the path of resistance is. And when you get a corner, water likes to chew into corners. So on the upper side of the bridge, that riprap up through there is gonna catch holy hell. And then, has anybody got an easement from,
Roland?
Roderman?
Roderman?
Roderman.
Because I understand from the plans that have been shown to us, that they wanna do a tearing effect in the fields through there.
Well, that's on the dam side. That's a different, that's a different issue. But getting back to the dam, they did, they had all this hydraulic studies and stuff, and they modeled the bridge that, was, raised the bottom of the deck and widened it on this side, the east side, our side. And the predictions were that the flooding in town was reduced by 1.5 feet or something like that, which, if you remember Irene, the water came in, the water went out, and there was basically no damage in the green, in between the post office and the little school and to Lawrence Hill Road. But in the July storm, it carried away half the fill behind the Gabion wall. It undermined Lawrence Hill Road, and all those, just the Lawrence Hill Road thing and filling in behind the
You're saying the
Gabion
difference
wall.
between those was about 1.5 feet or 2
It was
feet.
1.5 feet or 2 feet. So that's that. And does that mean that we're never going to flood again? Hell no, it doesn't. Does it mean that there'll never be damage to Lawrence Hill Road? Absolutely not. But it means that if you have a July type storm, that there will be, basically that will be a cost-free occurrence for us, as opposed to costing,
How much ever it is for disaster recovery.
150, 200, 250.
Yeah, but I've told you where the surge of water comes and nobody wants to listen to me. So
Well,
There were hydrological engineers who studied that for months.
yeah.
Looked at the river, looked at what modeled different possibilities for where the
and I'll
water
bet
could
you
go.
$100 right now that they never looked at that driveway.
Which driveway?
What driveway?
What drive? I don't know what you're talking about.
The driveway that goes out to Pat Beverages from Route 100.
Yeah.
It was holding back enough.
No, they didn't.
No, now let me finish. It was holding back enough water, so it went over Route 100, and it went down through. There's enough force of the water that was going down the right-hand side of Route 100 that it washed out Leo's driveway. Eventually, now you picture that, it's a whole lake from her driveway all the way up to as far as, it leveled out, and then all of a sudden her driveway let go. So that whole thing drained all at once and came down here. It's like the truck club letting go, coming down, or the splash boards on a lake letting go. I know when they let go on the lake above my camp, they said there's a wall of water that came down across there 3 to 4 foot high. Whoosh, and up goes. And
So
the
you're
state
saying-
the state has already told her they would rather not have her replace the driveway the way it was. They said make it passable with the dip in it, so it doesn't hold enough water back.
So
but
are
don't
you
bring it up
suggesting that the
level.
flood happened in Weston because of Pat Beverage's driveway and has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the river or the dam or the bridge?
The amount of water that came all of a sudden, because in the 73 flood, her driveway didn't wash out like that.
Well, Denny, the only thing I can say, the hydraulic modeling that they did, we all know how far the water came up because there was,
Water lines.
water lines there. The hydraulic modeling they did, they calculated, they picked a flow rate that put those water lines exactly where the maximum flow was. So if it doesn't matter whether, what happened in Pat Beverages, they're just assuming that the amount of water required to put those water lines where they were was the amount of water that was flowing down through the river here. And if that was helped or increased or decreased by Pat Beverages, those effects up there, it doesn't make any difference. They've got a flow rate that, I can't remember, it was like 10,000 cubic feet per second that put the water lines where they were. And they ran that much of water over the dam. They started, something like a half a mile or 3/4 of a mile above the dam. they got a flow rate that put the high water marks there and ran that through town. And they did it with the way the dam is and the bridge is. And then they did it with the dam removed. And then they did it with the dam in place and the bridge there. And then they did it with both of them removed. And,
You know, we can't review that, I mean, I know I started it, but we can't review that process of the study at this point. What we're really looking for here is, when do we have to accept or not accept that grant by?
March 16th.
So after town meeting. So really what we're looking at, it seems to me, is how do we put this before the town?
If you want to do that.
If we want to do that, right. If we want to do that.
The question is, you've got January 23rd is the drop dead date for the warning,
Right.
because that's when it goes to press.
And
But
to
you
me-
can do a special town meeting with 30 days notice anytime after January 23rd.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think
To think about.
that it would be within the authority of the select board, since we're the grantee in this case, that it would be within our authority to commit 670,000 of the bridge repair fund to supplement, to say, okay, we will make up the difference here so that we can go ahead and look at this. Am I wrong about that?
You know, you have the authority, but
Yeah.
but you just can't do it sort of will the wisp. You have a process.
I understand.
Finish.
Yeah, sorry.
You have a process you gotta go through. And the select board is gonna do this without the town involved. You gotta make sure you know what you're doing. You've got a whole bunch of conditions in this grant. To employment opportunities, to ownership, to all kinds of stuff. Debbie and I have just gone through this for life. 650,000. We didn't use an outside consultant, like both lawyers. It took us weeks to get through this stuff. This is serious business. You've got a federal grant. You've got a compliance audit coming at you. You've got to be dotting the i's and crossing the t's. This is not something, oh, let's do it. You gotta understand.
Well,
For example, I'm sorry, Ken, let me look at the budget. Budget has the bottom line. It's not, it has $709,000. So when you so we gotta continue 30%. That's what I'm trying to say, get the facts. And I think Denny, you're absolutely right. The issue is whether or not you want to do it. Oh, you know.
Well, Jim tells me I'm too blunt sometimes, but I'm gonna say this. This whole thing was started with a lot of input from the select board. I don't remember any. So now this whole damn thing got started. Now the select board is getting drawn into it. The grant process, none of the numbers were showed to us before the application was sent in.
That's not true.
That is not true.
Then when I raised the question about it not being enough, nothing was done. They didn't even take a sample above the dam, see if that's hazardous waste. Because that'll mean trucking that stuff to a special site.
Either way, we got the grant.
So this is being pushed on to us. And if you go to town meeting, the only ones that are going to show up there are the retirees and the well-to-do people because the working man's working. And they'll get pushed through.
And there's very big controversy going on. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I would call this a controversy.
This
It's a big
is
decision.
a big deal.
It's not that there's a right or wrong
There's a
about it,
lot of
but it's a
discussion
big
about it.
decision. And from your treasurer's perspective, I sure would love for you to say no. Because we have a compliance audit that we will have to do. I don't even know what it costs, but it's above and beyond our regular audit. And it's all about, are you in compliance with all these rules and regulations? And I'm concerned that we really don't have all our ducks in a row. Just having this conversation, we see that.
Well,
That's a concern for me as your treasurer. I want to retire before that special audit. Really and truly. So, but it is anyway, anytime you get grants and you spend over $1 million now, it triggers this single audit. And I've been told by our auditor, you don't want to do it. He doesn't even like doing it. They're difficult, okay?
But we also gotta look at the big picture we're looking at here. You know, we're talking 670,000 here. We know damn well this is gonna be short. But you gotta look at the big picture, what the whole town is facing, because the state is forcing this education stuff on us. And this is gonna be what, the third, fourth year of double-digit inflation? Yeah, they're throwing 75 million in this year to get it down to 7%. Last year, they threw 100 million in. Where's all that money come from? It's tax money. There's only so much these taxpayers can take. And we haven't even run a budget for the listers yet for what they've got to do within the next 6 years. And the local school district, this red district, they're talking about building a new school. What the hell's that bond going to cost?
Well, either way, that's totally true, and those are things coming down the line. Either way, we're still gonna get flooded again, and it's still the reality that how much money are we spending for cleanup, and how many times it's gonna happen? Is there any way that, if we can mitigate it now with this? I know it's complicated, I know it's not ideal, and I know it's upsetting, and I understand your feelings. Moving forward, how do we cross all of our T's and dot all of our I's moving forward, and with this, compliance, audits and all of these things that I don't totally really understand right now. There's a lot of words, a lot of big words, compliance audit, and all these different things that are a little. I want to kind of wrap my head around a little bit more and not argue about. We just have to find a way to move forward.
Does this group, I think one of the questions is, to your point, what do we want to do? Do we want to put this in front of the town, or do we want to not put this in front of the town? That's the big question for us as a group right here.
I think we should put it in front of the town.
I think that I would really like us to be thinking about future of the town and not just reacting to things that happen to us. This strikes me as being an opportunity, given some pretty careful study that was made. This strikes me as being an opportunity to do something for the future safety of the town.
Yeah.
And we have an opportunity because we have some money. I know it's not enough, but we have some money that's just being handed to us. Yes, expense. No, but that will be an additional expense for us.
We need to get additional support for that.
Right,
Yeah.
but in
That
any
would be the
case,
first thing I thought of.
it's money that's being handed to us. We could do something we could be proactive as opposed to reactive. And I think that's really important.
Thank you.
yeah, somebody's giving us $3 million here. And that, if you don't remove the dam, that dam is going to sink the community association because
They don't have the money to replace it.
they don't have the money to replace it. They don't have the money to maintain it. And they don't, I mean, if all people say, oh, the dam is beautiful, it's lovely. Yeah, but that dam is going to cost you 25 years ago, they spent $700,000 to bring it into compliance. That was supposed to last 25 or 30 years. guess where we are now? What is the current value of that 900,000 that they spent in 1998? Probably $1.5 million, $2 million. And that's gonna buy you another 20, 25 years. And having a compliant dam is not getting cheaper. So if you don't, and the community association, they've got nothing. They're, excuse me for saying this.
Start from scratch.
They don't have the money to do that. And you're looking at $75,000 a year that has to be set aside to maintain that dam. And we've got somebody here who's
Willing to do it.
willing to do it, pay for it, do all the engineering studies, and I don't think we can, the future of this town, I just don't see that it works if you don't, I mean, this is never coming back again. This kind of federal money it's, and
I think
you
we
know.
should give the town an opportunity to vote on it. I mean, I don't think, Denny, that we can say, no, we're not going to present it to the town at town meeting because, I mean, maybe we take the option of another warned town meeting to talk about, separate meeting to talk about this issue. Because you seem to think that the only people who are it's going to be an unrepresentative group at town meeting itself, and it will get put through, it will get passed, irrespective of the objection of people who aren't there.
But you guys are still talking about going to town meeting, thinking that this 3.6 million is gonna do the project.
No, we don't think it's going to do the project, but it's the municipal funds that we have, we can put towards this full.
So
grant
do
to be
you
able to
have
get
a
it.
definite number of where you're going?
No, we don't.
So
but-
you're looking for a blank check?
No, we're not looking for a blank check. I think it's up to us. Now we're just talking about it right now. I mean, I think it's up to us to then go back to the town, warn a meeting and say, or, come up with some kind of other capital campaign for it through the town. Or, some kind of other funding, fundraising. I mean, as someone who doesn't live in the village, but has been probably on more than anybody flooded and on my own. I can't imagine going through what I went through again. I can't imagine what it's like for this. If we have the opportunity to do something about it, I think we're morally obligated to bring it to the town.
Can I just say two things? One is I agree with Denny that town meeting on a Tuesday in March during the daytime excludes a lot of people.
Mhm.
And it's not a representative of the town, and I've seen that in my 20 years as moderator. You were a special town meeting because you could do it on a weekend. You could do it on a Saturday morning. And when people can come to it and participate. And that would eliminate some of that issue at least. And the other thing I would go back and say is there is 700,000 plus in a contingency in this preliminary budget. And if you've done any construction, and we all have done our parts of it, a 10 or 15% contingency is pretty good.
Yeah.
30% is pretty good.
Huge.
This is a rough order of magnitude. It's an order wrong. And this is only 30% complete in the design. So you got the final engineering is going to be taking place to talk about what's the impact on the library. Can this bridge be built and allow you to access the driveway into the new library building? Those are questions that are going to come up, but you can't answer those questions unless you get the agreement. Because they won't give you preliminary money to answer those questions.
You've researched you've read all the grant materials. and this is partly my ignorance, sorry?
It's my curse.
This is partly my ignorance about grants, but, okay, so we get so we take the $3 million, we say, yes, we'll take it. The town agrees to take it. We put, and the community association says, okay, we're gonna do the dam, and they do the dam for whatever amount of money that is. And the money left over, let's say it's 1.5 million, we will put toward the bridge, but then we discover that at that point, can we give that money back? Can we do just half of it? Can we give the money back?
I don't think so.
You have to do something.
I
mean, what if we don't spend all the money?
There's a source that Jim has available in the state of Vermont to answer these questions. And the Wyndham Regional Commission is also working on this as well. So these are good questions. I want to go back to what I came here for. You want to put this in a warning or not?
Yeah, well, I think we're roundabout trying to get there, Wayne.
Or do you want a special meeting?
Do we have to make a motion?
If you don't want to do the town meeting as town meeting, then you can punt this for a few weeks and do a special town meeting.
What if we did a special town meeting on a Saturday morning?
Could we do a town meeting on Saturday morning?
That would be great.
You mean change the town meeting we have now and do it Saturday morning?
Yeah, just to, I mean,
Because
we talk about this every year. No, just make,
It's town meeting day.
Don't go down that road.
okay,
You can't on this short of notice. I
okay.
think you would have had to warn it last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, the voters get to choose and they would have to vote on
The
it.
voters get,
and
gotcha,
warned.
okay.
We all know where it's gonna go, so you might just as well throw it in this town meeting. This whole thing is just a shit show and get it over with.
I don't know, I kind of like the idea of doing a special meeting, to be honest, so we can there can be more people coming than on a Tuesday at 9 in the morning.
We don't have to make that decision tonight. We could actually go back to the budget. But,
I can't wait.
I know you can't wait. So,
I guess the biggest thing bugs me is there's nowhere near enough money at $3.6 million. We're headed into an unknown. I mean, the 3.6 is taking in a bunch of our money that we've already got. And I myself, I don't write blank checks. I don't hand out blank checks myself.
What you haven't said on your favor of your argument is the other capital needs of this town. A fire station, for example.
Right.
A playhouse, for example. Stuff that the schools, there are needs that are coming. And there's only so many people in this town that are prepared to give a lot of money.
You probably know about this one. The state has mandated that we do a complete reappraisal every 6 years.
Yeah, I know that, yeah.
Andover did a statistical one recently, and I don't know how that works at all. I just know they did a statistical reappraisal. And so it may not go through that whole extensive process, and it would be worth talking to somebody in Andover to do that. So maybe there's another option.
The thing is we're gonna have to start shopping for an appraisal outfit.
I think if we do this, if we put this up before the town at town meeting, we need to put out information about this, a lot of information about this. Probably not just in the report, in the town report, but separately. And there needs to be a presentation at the meeting, which will lengthen the meeting and make you stand up for longer and longer.
Well, you can also do a hearing instead of a town meeting. I mean, a special town meeting. We've only had one hearing back in April. And there's a whole format for how you announce a special hearing on this application. And whether or not you want to take the agreement, and that's something you also have to certify too, that you have made this available to the town and that you had a hearing and you invited people and you took minutes and you.
That's part of this agreement. to do that.
Part of the, you don't get the agreement until you demonstrate that
You did the hearing.
You got the money.
I'm sorry?
You don't get the
Get the money.
agreement, this, until you demonstrate you've got the money you need to go along with this.
And
The
the
670.
It's two things,
Right.
That's one, and the other
Yeah.
one is you gotta show that you engage the town.
So you would engage the town at town meeting, or you could engage the town in a separate hearing and at town meeting.
It's three options. Regular town meeting, a special town meeting, or a hearing combined with either one of those two.
Uh-huh.
What is the difference between a special town meeting and a hearing?
You solely deal with one item.
Okay.
And your vote.
Well, you only deal with one item at a
And do
special
what?
town meeting too,
And I
right?
think your vote.
Well, no, the whole meeting is just for that.
But a hearing. is
Hearing.
just information.
Here's just-
And it doesn't do other town business.
I don't know if you all just heard this, you already know it, I did not understand it. A hearing, you're not voting on, a special town meeting, you're voting on, you heard
Right.
that, you know that, okay.
Well, no, but that's what I was assuming.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I didn't know.
So at a special town meeting, you would have a vote. At a hearing, you just are relaying information and taking questions. And then there has to be a subsequent meeting in which there's a vote, which could be town meeting.
Or it could be the select board.
At the hearing, you could take a sample opinion poll.
And then make
Yeah.
a decision as a
Right.
select board.
You have to take a straw vote.
Yeah.
And that could guide the select board if you don't wanna do a town meeting with all of the, with the articles and the warning, et cetera, you can, the select board can say, we don't wanna do this until we hear more about this from the town. Do your hearing and come back and be a, before March 16th. Vote on it.
If we were going to have a hearing and then have the vote at town meeting, that would have to be part of the warning. The vote would have to be part of the warning for town meeting, which means it has to be done before the 21st,
So come
even
back
though
to
the
January-
hearing
come back
is,
to January 23rd.
The hearing
Right.
wouldn't have happened yet.
even if the hearing is in February, it would still have to be warned, that vote would have to be warned at the,
But you can always remove an article from the meeting.
It's been warned and decide you're not going to address it.
You're just not gonna. Take it off the warrant. Take it off.
Question, Wayne. If you had your hearing
Yeah,
and scheduled a vote at town meeting, by having the hearing, would you have further discussion at town meeting, or would there just be the vote?
that's an interesting question. I don't think you could possibly. The only way that would happen then is if somebody stood up and said, I move the question. Okay, which would take the discussion piece out of the process. And then you need to have a 2/3 vote to remove, to end the discussion and not have any discussion. Otherwise, it's an open hearing. It's an open.
So what I'm visualizing is having your hearing. And this has happened many times, I don't mean to be rude or anything,
no,
but you get to town meeting,
and it happens all over again.
you discuss the same old bull all over again.
I don't disagree. I think back when we were trying to build the Walker Theater and the zoning was wrong. We needed to rezone that parcel for Walker Farm.
Right.
We had a special town meeting, pretty good attendance, as a matter of fact. It was at the Rod and Gun Club, as I recall. And that satisfied the rezoning question. And that sort of like, when you have questions that need town input, that's
The way to
what
go,
you can do.
I think that's the way to go.
So Wayne, I know you don't want to tell us what to do, although maybe you do, but what is your opinion about what is the, I'm interested in what is the most efficient and what is the most fair and just to the people of Weston to get and to make this decision?
Well, as I said earlier, I got no dog in this fight. Because I don't frankly care whether there's a bridge or not. I think it'd be good for the town, and I go back up in the helicopter and I say, is there something we should be doing to protect the town from further flooding? And as you said, Linda, the engineers say, yeah, there's stuff you can do. And I don't know, I've gone along with Denny, engineers can make up all kinds of stuff. But there is professional opinion. I think it's a major change to the village of Weston. We're gonna have a big clunky bridge here, and you're gonna take away a dam that's been a tourist attraction for decades. And as I heard Denny say one time, do people come here and take a picture of the river, or do they take a picture of the dam? And that's a historic artifact, which is, again, changing this. And I think that's something that the select board shouldn't do without input from the town.
Right, so I guess what I'm asking is, what do you think is the best process to get that input and to get the decision made?
I think you're gonna get more people out at a special town meeting than you are to a hearing. And I think you're gonna get more people out to a special town meeting on a weekend than you are during the day, when people who are working or can't make it.
Yeah.
It's not fair to them.
So would you have this special town meeting after regular town meeting or before?
I don't think you have time.
I don't think
They have to
you
make
do.
that choice before.
Town meeting is the 3rd. The next week,
We have to
you
have
have
it
to
on
have a
dinner.
special meeting,
So we
Yeah.
have to do this in
so you
February.
know how
You're gonna-
vote.
Right, so you can't do it 2 weeks in a
It's
row.
a 10-day window.
It's not enough.
The town meeting, the special town meeting has to be warned not less than 30 days from the date of the meeting,
Yeah,
and not more than 40 days.
okay,
So there's a 10-day window there.
okay.
So you sort of pick your Saturday if you want to do it on Saturday.
So you warn that in early February or whatever.
The calendar.
Yeah. So you warn that special town meeting with the topic of the bridge and the
But
dam.
then we would have to provide information, we would maybe do a mailing or something like that, right?
Right, so you would need to do it the Saturday, if you were picking a Saturday, following town meeting on the 3rd, so that's like the 7th and then.
Wait a minute, how many days do you need?
Between 30 and 40, right?
Right.
Well, hell, we're only at the 7th now. You
Right,
can do it
no,
in
that's
February.
You do, I'm just thinking of all the things you have going on around town meeting. Do you want to have town meeting on the 3rd and then have this special meeting on that following Saturday? Because then you have to know, you have to sign.
Don't we want it before the town meeting though?
Yeah. When do we have to have this decided by? The
The
16th?
16th,
I think it would be better to try to do it before,
before the town meeting.
before town meeting if we
Yeah.
could.
So
It's
do
just,
we-
And if we
so
pick-
much in
let's
such a short
pick-
period.
So do it on the.
February 28th,
Yeah. the-
how does that work? Just
even
go
earlier.
back
or
to
21st.
February 28th.
Well, that's like 3 days before town meeting.
That's gonna confuse the heck out of me.
Yeah,
I think
I
so.
think we should do maybe the
Can we do it
23rd,
earlier in
Can we do the
February?
21st?
The 21st.
Do we have time? 7,
Yeah, you do.
Oh, we
because
have plenty of
14.
You
time.
can't be less than
21.
30 or more than 40.
28. So we have till, basically the weekend of the next week, 12th to the 16th. If we send out a warning for that.
You're looking at the 14th or the 21st for your.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Denny's
The
right.
14th is part of President's Weekend.
So
and
I think we'd
nobody's
do the
gonna come.
21st.
But it is Valentine's Day.
Might get a better reception.
there's a lot of love in the air.
Right.
I feel
Right.
it right now.
For somebody.
I don't know, I get nothing, no.
I would say the
21st.
21st.
I think
February
that-
21st?
I think
Yeah.
So is
makes
that
the
what we're
most sense.
thinking?
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense to me, I think.
and then we'd be able to come up with all the information and send it out before then.
Well, some will, I don't know how we're gonna do that.
And we need to do a very professional presentation.
Well, we need to have the professionals there.
When the regional commission.
But
Yeah.
they'll wander into technical talk,
Hmm.
and that's what you want. As clear as you can be. And the last time we tried this, we had that crowd from Montpelier. who were useless and came up with all this stuff about what do you want to do the town, whether you want a town manager and you want sandbags in front of people's houses, all that stuff, which is totally irrelevant to the issue at hand. So what you want to do is get somebody that can do a PowerPoint, and somebody can do some kind of a audio visual presentation. Those people are around.
Yeah,
So is that,
Brian, lots of times we found that when you bring in professionals,
Mm-hmm.
they talk in their high level of education above everybody else. And at the end of the day, nobody understands what they say.
No, Denny's right. You don't want professional engineers.
Right,
You want professional public relations people.
Right.
To do this for a living, to get the message out to real people.
right. But what I was trying to tell Brian is you bring in professional engineers, they're talking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't even engineers, I just was, people who understand this grant better than I, is what I'm saying.
so is that, so is,
So
Hi,
could I
Deb.
make one observation? I just looked at the Floodbrook School calendar and that's the week of vacation.
Yeah.
Oh,
So just passing that on. Goodbye.
wait, what is the week of
The
vacation?
21st.
It starts on the 21st. That's because that's President's Weekend and stuff, and then it goes the following week.
It's the end of that vacation.
Yeah, President's is
No,
the,
it's the beginning of the vacation.
Well, the President's Day is on the 16th.
So it
yes,
was the
We were talking about the 21st.
I know, but there's according to their calendar, I just looked at it. It starts, their school calendar vacation starts on Friday, the 20th and goes through Friday, the 27th.
Oh, so it doesn't include actual President's Day. I
Yeah,
see. It's
now-
just a Saturday
Because
break.
we are.
That's exactly.
I said,
No,
I'm
thank
just
you.
looking,
That's really helpful.
I'm just looking on the calendar for Floodbrook and, I don't know. That's, and so I don't know what I didn't look in Burton.
It boils down to the same old story, regardless what day you pick. It's not gonna work for everybody.
so could it be a weekday evening, or no?
No, I don't think, no, because then you've got
Wintertime.
childcare issues, babysitting,
Okay,
all that stuff.
okay,
For
okay,
families anyway.
fair.
So what about the 14th?
14th is not a holiday, right?
Well, it's Valentine's
It's
Day.
Valentine's Day.
Did you have plans for Valentine's Day?
Debbie, does he have
I
plans
was
for
gonna say,
Valentine's
she's
Day?
on camera.
No, I'm serious. Is it 14th is a regular Saturday?
Yes,
It is just Valentine's Day, but it is not an official holiday, correct?
I think that's the time we want to do it. What's 30 days before then?
That would be
14th.
January 15th.
Which is next week.
Oh, that's even worse than town meeting.
And January 12th, 40 days, would be, January 5th would be 40 days. So sometime between, your window is between January 5th and January 15th.
And all that is a warning. That doesn't have to.
Yeah, just a warning.
And then if you can't get that special meeting done, would you prefer to do it as a hearing? Because that is less complicated. And then you vote at town meeting on that issue. No?
But why is it
And
less
to Denny's
complicated?
point, I think we'll just end up doing it all again.
Right,
I kind of like the town meeting idea better, no?
Okay.
special,
meeting.
you like
mean
the
the special
special.
town
Special
meeting.
meeting, sorry,
Special
yes,
town
yes,
meeting.
sorry.
So we're talking about February 14th.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
I got no plans.
Don't anymore.
yeah.
Me either.
But maybe we could,
Oh, Shauna said Debbie's right. Debbie's
Yeah.
right.
of course she is.
What a surprise.
So, Jim, if we, could the Flood Resilience Committee mount a presentation regarding this?
I don't think we're the right people to do it.
Okay, so who is?
I've been thinking about that.
Mhm.
The people that spring to mind are,
When you read, no.
well, Chris Campany of Wyndham Regional, who is very good on his feet.
There's moaning over here.
No,
There's a little,
it's at a G moan or an S moan?
I think that's a S moan.
Oh, that's you.
Oh, sorry, no, that was a G moan. Got it.
Okay.
I thought it stood for something
Well,
else.
I love him as much as anybody else does, but he's not the guy that I think.
Yeah, well, I mean,
He's gonna be above his talk. The other question to go along with what you're doing is where or who's gonna come up with a more realistic number?
The number is the number.
No, I mean, there's gonna be people that are gonna say, hey, is this the end of it? Or are we writing a blank check?
Or do we say to the town at town meeting on whatever day it is, not the special meeting, but the actual town meeting, do we warn an article and present to the town, say, in addition to this money that we already are committing to, do we have can we raise money or in the next 2 years? Because it's not gonna be spent until 2028 anyways, right?
I don't see that we'd be in a position to do that at this year's town meeting. I mean, there's a whole bunch of more
Right.
engineering studies and cost analysis and all that stuff.
I think I just meant for next year, talking about it like starting for next year, like talking
Putting
about it
money
this
in.
one, but like talking about it for next year.
But Denny's right, people are gonna say, well, what are we committing ourselves here
Right.
to here?
Yeah,
The answer to the question is you have a 30% contingency. And as anybody knows, when you go through engineering and the final design, you do value engineering. You say, okay, we're gonna change this, we're not gonna do this piece, and we're gonna save this money. So, yeah.
So you set an amount and you make that amount, you make it fit that amount, whatever your plan is.
Can we think about this person that we maybe wanna, and then talk about, like, revisit it on Tuesday?
No, why don't we think about it tonight? Tomorrow night we'll allow 10 to 15 minutes on this subject, then we gotta work on the budget.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Let me know what you decide.
Oh, yeah.
I think
So,
you'll,
Can I make one comment?
Yes.
Hi, Deb.
One comment. In terms of like who makes the presentation, I'm not sure I have an answer to that or a good answer or whatever, but I think if what you really want to be thinking about is what is the information that you want to convey? And what in my view, you need to think about what are the questions that people are going to ask? And how are you going to find an answer or some sort of answer to that? Like, for example, Denny's concern about this is a open dollar amount. I mean, maybe you just have to admit it, that's an open dollar amount and we don't know. You know, I don't know the answer, but what I'm getting at is you have to think about what people need to hear before they're going to make a decision. So my 2 cents to the process.
So you're saying like prep like it's a debate.
Yeah, like, what are
What's
they
the
gonna
other
wanna
side of
hear?
the
They're
What's
gonna
the
want-
other side of the, yeah. what
Just
is
a
it?
piece of that is they're gonna wanna hear, if we're telling them this dam, which is a focal point, and I do agree, because I've had 10 people already come up to me and say, don't you dare touch that dam. If that's going to be, I have a focal point, what is it going to look like afterwards? We have to be able to answer that question,
Well,
right?
that they have renderings of beautiful
Okay,
renderings
so
of what it's
that's,
gonna look like.
that's important for us to be
Yeah,
able
we
to have
just-
blown up and show, and that's just one of the questions. She's
We
absolutely
have
right.
links to that.
We do, I thought they were still on the website.
Oh, we could check, look, yeah.
I've often thought that our biggest challenge, and it's on your plate more so than anyone else's, is we have an antique town with modern needs. And it's really hard to balance that. It's really hard.
Yeah.
And yet, while I make my joke about my single audit, I feel like anything we can do to lessen the damage from a flood, to lessen the amount of water, is in our mental and emotional and financial health. Because if we spend an extra 600,000 over the 3 million, that's money we're gonna spend in the next flood anyway.
Well, the other thing too is nobody's
I think we should
done,
let her, I think we should let her finish, Denny, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know what the right answers are, but I really feel like when all is said and done, the dam needs to go if that's part of the problem, and this bridge needs upgraded so that it can lessen and we don't get 8 feet in our village and we get maybe 3. And what resonated with me in those presentations was that we'll always have flooding, but it's the amount of time that it takes to recuperate from that flooding. I don't want to see the hole in the ground again in the front of this bridge. And I don't know how this building escaped damage, but it's not going to keep escaping damage. I don't know what your answer is.
The thing is, the history of Weston is people moved here because it was a quaint little town.
Mm-hmm.
You used to have 15 to 20 small businesses in town.
Mm-hmm.
They have since basically disappeared. You got 2 main businesses in town. You are now looking at changing a major part of the character of the town. You took out one dam. There's a little sign up there that amounts to dilly squat. So by removing the dam, you're going to take out another major attraction to the town. And the quaintness of the town is going to disappear. And people aren't going to be so hot to move to Weston. Yeah, they may have the Walker Farm or the Playhouse, but that isn't going to hold them. I mean, you can see it in the traffic out there. People come in town and they visit the country store and the store across the road. And then they're wandering around like lost zombies because there's nothing else for them. So they get in their car and go. So if you're taking another item that they can go take a picture of or discuss or.
But if you don't get the Playhouse back in operation in some way, shape, or form, nobody's going to care how quaint it is.
And the renderings of what it's going to look like once the dam is out is actually incredibly beautiful. If you've looked at it, it's stunning, actually.
And the mill will still be there. And
the
there
mill
will
will
be a
still
mill
be there,
trace.
and
Yeah.
there will be a
Oh,
safety. There will be not a guarantee, but a reduction of water, which will save historical buildings.
And possibly
Like I said,
money
we'll have
for-
our thing on the 14th and
Okay,
All right.
all I did on the warning was make up some ideas. So like those first 4 or 5 until you get in, will you appropriate this or that or the other thing?
Okay.
Were just based on the things you had discussed. They weren't anything in concrete. The one thing you did discuss was asking for a recommitment from the townspeople on the mountain town recreation.
Right,
And I
right.
didn't word it very well at all, but
Yeah, we're
Thank
supposed to
you,
look
Wayne.
at that every year, right?
Yes. Thank you, Wayne.
I like that part.
Why don't I not have the warning?
Oh,
draft.
Maybe I took 2 of them. No, that's
we have an extra one right here.
this one.
Well, that's why I don't have it.
And this, you probably need
I
to
do
have
have it.
this.
The point is that I do have it. I've got that, yeah.
And here's the sign sheet.
Did we get everybody in that sheet?
Except for Wayne.
And Jennifer, Leo, Brian, Todd, and Rich.
Night, Wayne.
Thank you.
So are we wrapping up for tonight? Is that what we're doing?
I think so.
It's already after 9. We got us falling problems with
Yeah. Well, we spent a lot of time with the fire department too,
We
right?
spent too much time with the fire department.
Yeah.
With not having any answers.
Yeah,
well,
We got them in the right
better
Yeah,
than
we
last
know
year
it's
when they
better.
were late.
Yeah, we got them in the right direction.
not only that, I think we're trying to head them on the right Maybe I overspoke.
Sure, yeah.
No, I think
you are- I think
that was exactly right.
Um,
Yeah.